Hey there, amazing souls. Grateful to have you tuning in as usual. And today I just have another kind of quick one. I wasn't going to do a live with you guys today, but I just got inspired by some conversations that I've been having in my life and really about the stuff that matters. And it's very much in connection to what I've been sharing with you guys in terms of me having to retreat for a while. And, you know, having that be a healthy thing to have to retreat from potential actions that you might be usually taking or whatever it is in your life or relationships maybe you're needing to retreat from for a period of time. And that can definitely be healthy. And like I've shared with you over the last few messages, there comes a point where you actually have to get out and get back into it, right? And make sure that the time that you take to retreat, to go deep, to withdraw and maybe put a pause on things in your life, that you're actually utilizing them in a way that actually helps you to come back better than ever, right? That's the whole purpose of it, because there's no point in running away from life's challenges when things get too difficult, or when you feel like maybe you haven't got results that you're after. And there's no point just retreating from the world and isolating ourselves and, you know, staying stuck in our woe is me kind of mentality. You know, like, retreat mode is made so that you can regroup, recharge, reorchestrate what matters to you, get your power back, right? Get a deeper insight as into who you actually are, what you actually want, having the courage and the confidence to go after it, right? And push yourself in the right direction and make sure that you're not staying off track, right? And so today I want to just share with you kind of a little bit of just to pump in our step, you know, just a little bit of a kick. Or a little bit of a good kick though, right? And so a bit of a firecracker when we can oftentimes need it, right? And so just before I'm racing out the door, but I can see a bunch of you just joining now. So hello to you guys. Drop me some comments and let me know what you feel about today's message and your experiences with it. But today I want to talk to you about the fact that you need to get clear on what is worth fighting for. What is worth your heartbeats? And this feels really passionate to me right now because I've been having conversations with people that just, there's a lot of talk and no action, right? And I know I've found myself in that basket more times than I would like to be conscious of, right? Well, not be conscious of, but like to say that that's true, right? And the message that I have for you guys today, whoever needs to hear this at whatever level, just a little bit of a spring in your step, just a little bit of a check-in, is until you clearly define what is worth fighting for you, and you're boldly doing so, you're wasting your heartbeats, all right? And this is what I mean by this. Like, so many of us have fallen into this pattern of talking a big game. But in actual fact, if we really look at like what you're actually actioning in your life, how you're actually going after it, how you're actually engaging in life, it's not really matching up, right? It's one thing to be able to talk a big game, but it's a total other realm of life to be boldly going after it. And a lot of us have lost the drive, we've lost the fire, we've lost the what's worth fighting for. And we're just sitting this one out, basically. And the worst place to be is when you're sitting out of life and you're convincing yourself and others otherwise, right? And it's not even about convincing others. It's more important, what are you convincing yourself of? Because the biggest trap from my perspective, and as I reflect through my own life, has been in my ability to convince myself that I am living my life fully, right? And we can become over time, if we have put ourselves out there in some capacity, and maybe that's in relationships, maybe that's in your career path, maybe that's in maybe you've tried and failed in your health and things like that. It's like at some point, sometimes we get like so beaten down by the so-called failures or the defeats that we end up finding these ways, these nasty little strategies that we can be unconscious of, as to creating a kind of persona, creating a kind of verbal way of expressing who we are and what's important to us, as a kind of wall that is a bit of a facade that makes us kind of feel as though we're engaging in life and in love, in relationship, in health, in our career paths, in being purposeful in whatever area that is. But in actual fact, we've just convinced ourselves of that, and it's kind of like our comfort blanket, rather than actually engaging in the action boldly and be willing to fail, be willing to, try some stuff out and it just doesn't work. You have to sometimes retreat, like I had to do for a few months for some very different reasons. Again, I haven't really shared much of that, still very raw for me, but sometimes we need to retreat, to regroup when we've noticed that we've lost confidence in ourselves because of the defeats, right? And we're starting to doubt our vision. We're doubting what we're saying that we want to do and our ability to actually attain that. And sometimes we do need to put the pause button on and go, hang on a minute, like I just need to check out to be able to check in, right? And that's very, very healthy. But a lot of people, what I'm seeing is they're checking out and convincing themselves that they're still checked in, right? And talking this big game, creating this wall of protection through a facade. It's kind of like somebody who, we've heard the kind of way of being where, you've bought your gym membership, but like that was your action. You're not actually going to the gym. It was enough for you to talk the game, to pay the money, to have a gym membership, but let's just check in with that. Like, are you actually going? Are you challenging yourself? Are you taking the actions rather than just convincing yourself that you're a gym goer, right? Like, because you got a gym membership. And the same is happening in our relationships. Make sure that when you are committing to relationship, when you are defining what is important to you, make sure that you're not just all talk and you are actually actively being those things that you say are worth fighting for. The same thing with a purpose in your life. The same thing with the quality of friend that you are. Whatever it is, really check in with yourself. And if you've lost the drive, the passion, the ambition, the energy, the hunger for life, the vibrance, like all of that juice, like if you've lost that, maybe it's time that you check in and ask yourself, what is worth fighting for? Because I know people will be resistant to that terminology. Like, I don't want life is not a fight, right? I don't want it to be a battle, right? That's half the battle of me getting into life, is thinking it's a fight, it's a battle. But why I'm using those words is because you have to go against our human nature that wants to keep us comfortable, safe, secure. It's not congruent with reaching our potential, which is ultimately the pathway to our fulfillment. Okay? If we're not being everything that we can be in life, in love, in purpose, in our purpose, then there's something feels like innately missing. Even if we're pretty comfortable and cozy in our lives, it does at some point get uncomfortable. And so we have to be able to tap into what is worth fighting for, because at the end of the day, I can't sugarcoat it. Life, if we have to go against our nature of staying safe, comfortable and warm and cozy without challenging ourselves, and we're always drawn into the pleasure and just staying at that place, We have to find what is worth fighting for so that we can get beyond our humanness, right? Well, that element of us that wants us to just play the small game, just don't know. That great stuff, that out there stuff, that's not for you, right? Yeah, no, you just do what everybody else does. Like, no, right? Like, we want you living the life of your dreams, not selling out, not settling, not like raising the standard for what you experience in every aspect of your life, because you want to leave this place knowing that you gave it your all. You want to leave it regret free. You want to leave this place feeling so fulfilled by everything that you gave a go, by the inspirations that you pursued, by the courage that you had to define clearly what is worth the fight, what is worth the push, what is worth your energy, and what is worth your heartbeats, and boldly get about taking action on that, right? So that you can definitely make those heartbeats matter. Okay, I've had a bit of a challenging last couple of weeks in terms of I actually had to watch my neighbor who I've known all my life. I actually had to watch him be carried out of his home in a body bag, and it really impacted me. Like death always impacts us, right? And because it's so definite, in this life, like to one day see somebody who I perceive to be fit and active and engaged and, young, right? And, and so much to live for, and the next day I saw this person, literally like carried out in a body bag, right? And people having trouble, like just getting him down the stairs sort of thing. And just, just this lifeless body, basically. I know this is kind of morbid. Sorry to share this. I hope it doesn't trigger anybody who might be experiencing something related to this or traumatic at the moment. But it's a good wake-up call and check-up because, life is finite, and this physical body that we have, it's finite. We've only got so many years, to live like it matters, right? To define clearly what is worth fighting for, to get off our asses and get into action and boldly pursue that, and like I mentioned several times today, if you need to check out in order to check in, do that. Do not force yourself to be in action, and go mode like that could be off course for you. Have the self-awareness to check in with yourself and check out of things that you're unsure about. Put the pause button on so that you can regroup, get your fire back, and believe in yourself. Believe in the possibility of your dreams becoming a reality, because they absolutely can. And the only one who's defining that is you and your action steps, okay? And nobody else is coming to do this work for you, right? Believe me, I've tried several different directions. Somebody else come and help me and support me and make my life easier. It doesn't work like that. You're your one. All right, I'm my one. And together we can share our experiences. We can inspire one another. We can share vulnerably and openly about the things that matter so that it can trigger and spark something within each of us to get into inspiration, to get beyond our fears, and to get out there and do what your heart wants you to do. All right, don't hold back. This life is definitely finite. And yeah, several people I know recently have passed away, and it is confronting, and I think it's valuable, but I don't want it to be, I know for myself, I don't want it to be just when people die that it gives me a bit of a spark. I want to stay with my finger on the pulse of that. All right. And that's why I do these messages for you guys. I hope that they do hit you in the heart in some way, that sparks that little flame within you that goes, okay, yeah, you know what? Let's take some accountability here. Yeah, I've been settling a bit. I've not been believing in myself. I've lost that spark. I don't know what's worth fighting for. Okay, that's the first step of awareness. Now, what are you going to do about it? If you need support, reach out, right? There's many people that you can reach out to. My door is always open. reach out to me. If you've lost the spark, if you want to surround yourself with the right groups of people, that's what I do. That's why I'm so passionate about community, and that's what I do with the Limitless Potential. I know we've got our Facebook community, but even deeper than that, like actually connecting with people, the same people each week, sharing your life's journey, sharing your growth, growing shoulder to shoulder, deepening into the right energies that will make you engage with life at a higher level, a higher standard, so that you can make your heartbeats matter. All right. That's what I'm all about. And I'm very grateful for each and every one of you guys who shows up to these messages, because I know that you are of similar energy, right? Like you believe in these same principles. And, that's why it's so powerful to know how much we can contribute to one another by lifting the vibration, the energy, like our perspectives, like what matters. Like, yeah, we're going to have doubts. Yeah, we're going to have fears and insecurities. That's part of our human experience. We're perfectly imperfect, right? But sometimes we just need that little kick and spark from other people sharing honestly, openly, vulnerably, and courageously about their struggles, about their successes. And that can just kickstart something for us and reignite the flame. So it's super important, I believe, having the right community. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you guys for being here and a part of the Limitless Potential community. I love it. So let me check in. I've got Bill in the house. Hello to you. And Elliot. Hello, my friend. And Phyllis is here. And Shane, good to see you. And Jose and Sam and Judith and Myers and DB. Good to see you as well. And hello to you, Myers. Good to have you here. And DB, thank you. Again, life is finite, and witnessing the cycle of life and not being, overtaken by the fear of death, right? Or blinded and keeping ourselves avoidant to the realities of our finite existence in this lifetime here right now, right? And, and so there is beauty in it. I think my heart broke the most for my neighbor's partner, having a marriage for the past 50 or so years and just what that will look like. But, the beauty of it is she's now brought everybody in our street closer together with this, and we band together. This is the beauty of humanity. She's surrounded by love and support with her family from all over the globe who've come back to support her, and it's just such a good reminder, for all of us to not just check out and to recognize we only get this one shot right here, right now, so let's make the most of it and let's support each other to step up and get out of the comfort zone and stop wasting our heartbeats while we've got them, right? There's plenty of other people who've been and gone and would love the opportunity to have what we have. So absolutely. Thank you, DB. And Bill, talk is cheap. Not everyone is looking to do the work. Not everyone wants to live to 90. Yeah, that's true. And, it's even, living to 90, but it's like, okay, well, my granny at the moment is 97, and she's totally fully with it, but her physical body is starting to check out a bit, and she's, I've noticed that she's just like, oh, life is not worth living, right? Like in this state. And it's interesting to me because, she even, I won't go down this path right now, but basically it's, it's about the time that you, elongate for you to be able to be here. And it's also about the quality of the life that you are creating. And at the end of the day, I can't get beyond living it up, soaking up while you can all the experiences available to us in this world right here, right now. And also, to also build your relationships, how you impact one another, how you connect with one another. That's the stuff that actually really matters. So you're totally right. Absolutely, Bill. Talk is cheap. You know, and that's why this bit of a reminder, like you've got to clearly define what is worth your heartbeats, what's worth fighting for, and know that it is going to be a bit of a fight, right? Like the things that matter in life through your growth. You've got to grow, you've got to challenge yourself, but you've got to find the things that are worth your heartbeats, because otherwise you'll check out. The challenge will be too much unless it's meaningful to you. So stop living anybody else's values and start living your own. If you're checked out and you've been checked out for a while, get back in touch with what matters to you and clearly be able to determine and discern whose values you may have been trying to live up to that have basically got you checked out and fuelless. Okay, so instead of fearless. I love it. Thanks, Bill. And Charolina is here as well. Good to have you. And Bill, I love being around motivated people and surround myself with them. I love that, Bill. And, you know, that absolutely. And you're an incredible human being for people to be surrounded with as well, with your energy and your perspective on life. And so thank you for being a great example of what it is to make your heartbeats matter. Love it. Love having you here. And Andy's here as well. And Dennis, good to see you guys. Awesome. And Jose, hi, Vanessa. Thank you for your wisdom. Oh, grateful that this is of value. And how can one tap into what's worth fighting for? I know action is key, but sometimes very difficult to take action. I love this question, Jose, and thank you so much for asking it. What I would say to you is, like a lot of us, like myself included, I'm a real action taker. I love action. I don't want to just talk about it, right? And sometimes that can trip us up, right? Because if we don't first clearly define what what's worth fighting for from within us, we end up basically subordinating to other people's values. Like I've been down too many of the wrong paths, which were basically me rushing into action, going down the wrong career paths, going down the wrong relationship paths, just choosing things too quickly because I wanted to get into action. So what I would say, Jose, is to take a pause. To pause and basically I have a couple of different quickest answer is you've got to define what you value, right? And if you're interested in knowing some processes to do that, you can reach out to me. I have some trainings on that so that you can just take the action, get that clarity. But on a deeper and a more in-depth answer, I would actually say that all of us have got some healing work to do from the wounds that we have collected from childhood all the way through up to this point. And if we do not heal that stuff, if we do not become aware of all those different aspects that have shaped and modeled the persona as we find ourselves here and now, oftentimes we struggle to clearly define what's worth fighting for because we're not actually really in connection with our authentic selves. It's almost as though parts of us have disintegrated, back in those different experiences in the timeline of our history where we've been challenged, traumatized, hurt, wounded, all of those things. And if we do not go back through that timeline, clearly define those pivotal moments in our life, go back and reintegrate those aspects as the adult that we are now, I believe, and from my experience working with people since 2013 now, and, using myself as a human guinea pig, is that basically it's very difficult to create a life that's worth fighting for, that's totally heart-centered, that is fueled with what is worth fighting for purely from what inspires you, because you're living through all these different impacts and wounding that has defined your persona, but that's not actually the reality of who you are. So it's very difficult because then you get into actions and you think that's the thing that's worth fighting for, but in actual fact, when we trace it back, it's the voice of somebody else. All All right. It's who you think you should be in order to get the love, acceptance, approval, anything that was missing for you throughout that timeline of your history. So that's the work that I do on a one-to-one level. And I am passionate about that work because I, like many others, had kind of skipped over that work in my personal development. And it wasn't until I really had to lean into that. It's not as easy. You need support, it can be dark at times. But it wasn't until I made a commitment to that after time and time again going down incorrect paths that were costing me mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, it wasn't until I was able to go down that path of healing with a clearly defined path for reintegration of those aspects to become the adult that I am now, that I actually was able to step out authentically and be clear on what was worth fighting for me. So any of you guys who are interested and not just interested, only reach out to me if you are committed to that kind of work, because I put my heart and soul into supporting people get to that core self of their authentic self to define the rest of their lives, basically. So I hope that answered your question. I gave you the short answer and the long one. But I really appreciate you being here, Jose, and thank you. I always appreciate your questions and your contributions here. And Dennis got here late. We'll listen from the start. You are a good one. I love it. Right back at you, my friend. And much love to you, Coralina, and Aone's here as well. And Bill, you're fired up today. You bet I am. The sun's shining. It's a little bit warmer. I'm about to go hit a new training session. So I'm definitely fired up. And what I'm talking to you about today, what fires me up more than anything is when I see people selling out on their potential. Like it pisses me off. Like, sorry, excuse my French, but like it really does, and because there's so, like, why would we do that? Why do we, I know the reasons why in a way, because that's how we're wired to just go for the comfort, go for the easy path. And, but most of the time it's because we're living for the eyes of others and we're so terrified of what others will perceive if we so-called failed that we just don't get off our asses, right? And we just stay put, we stay just kind of cruising, and we create, like I mentioned, this facade and persona that we've convinced even ourselves of, which is the most terrifying thing, because it becomes so difficult to disengage from something that you're not even consciously aware of, right? And you're not open to feedback for people to share with you what they're seeing in terms of that, right? So, that's why I'm fired up. I love it. Thank you, Bill. And DB, good to have you here. Yes, for sure. I missed 4 of my family members just passed away. Wow, just the last 7 months. And I missed all their funerals, but I know my heart and soul was there. Cool. I love that. Stay healthy, stay positive and happy. My grandpa was 98 when he passed, but know our lives are what we make it and have the right choices to become the best person we can. I love that, DB. And my heart is with you and your family and all of those losses, but grieving is a real thing that is absolutely necessary and a beautiful process that we shouldn't skip over, because it is wounding and traumatic to skip over and not acknowledge that. But where I see people get stuck is when it's just in what their focus is on what they've lost. And so, I know you, DB, as somebody who, like, even in just what you mentioned, even though you, despite not being able to be that present physically for their funerals, you could feel a sense like there's no loss there, right? Because you know that your heart was with them at that time, right? And it's really, really good to in my family, we don't really do funerals. We call them celebrations of life. All right. And so instead of a funeral, which is this very sad time, and of course, again, you need to grieve, you need to go through that process. I'm not saying they're bad, but I actually personally like the perspective of celebrating their life, and coming together and sharing in all the amazing things they contributed to your life and hearing other people's journeys with that as well. And so when people in our lives pass, we can, get sad and grieve and all the rest of it. And we can balance ourselves out, and we can also highlight all the amazing memories, experiences, and even if they weren't somebody who you had those amazing memories and experiences with, what challenges maybe that they brought that basically gave you opportunities to grow into the individual that you are, right? So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, DB. Love having you here. And Carolina is here as well. And Bill, I'm happy for you. Thank you, my friend. Always happy for you and your adventures. And Dennis, making a life worth living. Easy words, lifetime journey if we choose. Absolutely. And so it's amazing to me, like, just how many of us get into this all words, no action. And I've had to come to terms with how I've been oblivious to certain people in my life's talking a big game and not taking the action because I could see all the potential and I got caught up in that. So I can see how easy it is to convince ourselves and others that we are making our heartbeats matter when we're actually not, and that's doing yourself and the world a massive disservice. Don't get to the end of your life and then suddenly realize the denial you've been in. Like, get clear now, be willing to lean into the things that you've potentially been dismissing and denying and even lying to yourself about. And I hope this message sparks something for you, or maybe there's somebody in your life who could do with hearing a message like this, that you could share that with them as well. Ione, ça va bien? You're doing well. Good to have you here, my friend. And Bill, all the people you lost just want you to be happy and live your best life. Absolutely. Beautiful words that I feel we can all take to heart with the people that we've lost in our lives. All right, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. And on that note, we can tie up our message today. And I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up today, for being here, for contributing to the conversation, and just being you, and just being willing to lean into these sort of messages and take something from it, right? Like, take a spark of the energy here and apply it to your life, and just go and ask yourself that question and trust that you always have the answers within you. Just see what comes out. What is worth fighting for? What really matters, right? What is worth my heartbeats? Because they're ticking, and they're not ticking forever, right? And so what are we going to do about it? And don't just talk a big game, get clear, and then boldly pursue what your clarity is. And even if you're a bit unsure, just get some clarity, take some action, and work it out on the way. We can't have all the answers without going through the experiences, unfortunately. So hope that inspires, and thank you again for showing up, and love to each and every one of you guys, and I'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Much love.